Yeah, welcome to FOLE TV, where we look at some critical issues. If you're emotional, please get off. All right, so you can see this image. Rome, 2,000 years ago, statement of fact. Africa, about an hour ago. What do you think? The third wave Pan-Africanists make you believe that everything wrong about this continent is caused by the colonialists and slavery. I beg to differ. Show me one thing, the type of infrastructural development that sub-Saharan Africa actually had before the arrival of the colonialists. The first ship that docked at the coast of the then country, Guinea Coast, for Gold Coast, then Ghana, was in 1471 AD. Can you point out one proper infrastructure, say underground railway stations or subways, education, health sector, cars and stuff that we had, especially in this country before the colonialists or the Europeans came? You can't prove to one. And this is an epitome of exactly what I'm saying. What type of buildings did we have before the Europeans came? And what type of buildings did they have before they came? They were building, the English especially were building castles. Visigoths and Vikings were also building their Gothic architecture. What were we building? This is the heart, spread all across sub-Saharan Africa. You go to South Africa, you see. You go to East Africa, you see. You go to Central Africa, you see. You go to West Africa, you see. Every part of Dark Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa, this is the type of architectural design we had before the Europeans came. The Europeans had this kind of building, which they introduced to us through colonization. What type of building, what type of infrastructural development did we have? If we have to blame everything on colonialism, when we know we are weak, we are incapable of building a nation, then we quickly run to use two events, slavery and colonialism, and we hang on to transatlantic slavery, not talking about trans-Saharan slavery or Arab slavery. Why so? Did the Europeans seize the lands or take the lands away that you can develop it? Did they take your water resources away? The Europeans actually, in fact, introduced the system of education that we have today to us. Don't talk to me about Egypt. Never say to me about Egypt. When the Europeans are thinking of building rockets that they're sending all the way to the moon for exploration and research, we still talk about how we were held back by the colonialists. This is the result of people who cannot think beyond tomorrow. It is the reason we have about 60% plus arable lands that we cannot even produce anything to feed ourselves. We still have to import a lot of foods. It's another reason. It's the reason we always live on grants and donations as a nation in order to even construct a single pie for our country. It's another reason. If that dummy bridge breaks down really bad right now, you still need Europeans to come and fix it because they were the ones who built it for you. Yes, of course. What did we build before the Europeans came to Africa? Our health system was introduced to us by the Europeans. As a matter of fact, Gadengagisbeck did way more, even drew a developmental plan for this country. It's a statement of fact. What were we doing before they came? Tell me, talk to me. If you think I'm wrong, what were we doing? Don't mention any Egyptian pyramid. In 2026, it is not about slavery that is holding anybody back. It is not about colonialism that is holding anybody back. It is the type of leadership that we have, the ones with vision and the ones with lack of vision. Country Singapore is having a vision by 2030 thereabout. What do they plan to do? They want to have at least 5 in 10 Singaporeans should have, master's degree to PhD. China, we see what they're doing, just developing, just moving on. They don't complain. The Chinese don't complain. They just build, attack them. The Europeans call them. As a matter of fact, when the Europeans first had this contact with the Chinese, they called them the sick men of the East. What are they today? Did they complain? The Chinese don't see them complaining. They just built. The Jews were targeted all across Europe. They did not complain. They just They just sat back, learned how to build, and they built. And they are better off than most countries in Africa in terms of technology, in terms of agriculture, in terms of science, in anything. They are better off than we are. In fact, as a matter of fact, if they were to have the voter league that we have today, it wouldn't be easy. They do what is called desalination process, and that's what they do with the Dead Sea that they have. Desalination, and they export this water to the neighboring countries. Read this book. I had access to this book in SS1, The Startup Nation. Get that book and read it. And you also read 50 Years by My Story by Mohammed Rashid, the leader of UAE. Stop complaining. It is a show of incapability. It is a show of inability to complain about slavery in this day and age when AI. Who told you? United States of America was colonized. Do you see the Americans complaining about British colonialism? Most of the things you see, the infrastructure, the British left it there. The British left millions of things for us. The railway system, they left it. Don't tell me because the railway systems were constructed to take our resources. Did they take it away? After they had left, you were the ones who pushed them that they were not ruling you well. What is it that they still left and you're still complaining? And their countries are still the countries you still dream to go to. When you go and you come back, you come to show off that you've been to England, the US, Netherlands, Germany. What do you still go there? The educational system they left us is what we're still depending on. Is it not a fact? Why didn't you collapse the educational system? Because the British left it. As a matter of fact, again, see Japan, see the bullet trains in China and other part of the world. Why is it that when the British left, you could not build a single bullet train or have a proper subway system in Ghana? You cannot do it. You cannot do it. You cannot. There are people without power. People without power and influence, Marcus Garvey said, will never be respected anywhere. Read that the philosophies of Marcus Garvey was put together by his wife and Garvey. I read it back in 2019. The people without power and influence can never be respected anymore. When you sit down every day complaining about everything, complaining about slavery, complaining about colonization. Meanwhile, colonization has done more good to some degree. Imagine we didn't have colonization. Which language I will be speaking now? If you are listening to me, because the vast majority of the people who listen to me on this platform are actually not people from my lineage. Which language are we going to be using as a lingua franca? The British saw this. They even wrote the languages, our local languages that we speak today. The colonialists were the ones, those who were amongst them. The Gospel for Propagation, the Bremen Missionary, they were the ones who wrote the languages for you. They wrote it. That is why you still have a writing system. They introduced the writing system that you have today. Why do you want to complain about that thing? Every day complaining, you don't move. Look at how countries are moving. Norway stores seats across the world. China is moving. Japan is flying. You know, when we were kids, you remember when you buy the CD deck, you see, once you slot in, you see Japan technology. Do you remember that? See, when they were doing that, Japan introduced a phone with TV long ago before even the West. What is it that Japanese didn't complain about? The US bombing them, dropping nuclear weapon Nagasaki and Hiroshima. August 6, 1945 and August 9, 1945, the same year. Why didn't they complain? But look at how they are building. This third wave Pan-Africanists, they are sick. What do they preach? What do they say exactly? Which solutions do they have to the problems that we have, the realities that we face on a daily basis? But the whole idea is if they cannot do a thing, they have no solution, they need to find a boogeyman to blame. And most of you, that's what you follow. The Pan-Africanists have no solution. They are delusional. Most of them, they are completely delusional. Ask them a single problem and how to solve it. They will blame the white person. Meanwhile, it is the same white people who will give you money to run your budgets in your country. If they don't, your country will die. If all white country refuse